So today I'm going to talk to you about a few things that you should take into consideration when beginning to record. I'd like to focus on two main things: the absorption levels of various materials and the polar patterns and placement of microphones. So when it comes to absorption levels, think about the room in which you're going to record something. The material that the walls and the floor are made of, or the materials that are in the room, will have an effect on how much feedback the microphones are going to receive. So when sound travels across the room, it will eventually hit the wall. If the wall is made out of material like tile, very little sound will be absorbed and much of the sound will reflect off of the wall and travel back to the microphone, which is not something that you want. So imagine that this circle right here is your microphone. You're standing here facing the microphone making sound, and the sound is traveling forward into the microphone, but also through the microphone, and it's going to hit the wall back here. If the wall does not absorb much of the sound, then it's going to reflect off of the wall, go back towards the microphone, which will put more sound feedback into the microphone that you don't want, and it's probably going to go across the room and then bounce off the opposite wall and then again travel back towards the microphone. So that's something that you want to try to avoid. The same thing will happen to the floor if it's made of a material like tile or concrete. Wood will absorb a little bit more of the sound, but when in doubt, carpet's always a good addition, as they will keep less sound from reflecting back towards the microphones. You can also put curtains or carpets on the walls to reduce reflection. In the end, you only want to record sounds that are coming directly from their source, not reflected sounds. Now, to talk about microphone placement, we have to touch briefly on polar patterns. Let's assume that you're using a microphone that has the three main polar pattern settings: cardioid, omnidirectional, and bidirectional, or as it's called here, figure of 8. Cardioid picks up sound directly in front of the microphone and slightly to the side, so it's sort of like a heart shape right there. Bidirectional picks up sound on two opposite ends of the microphone. This is helpful if you have two people maybe singing a duet, and they can face each other and the microphone will pick up both of them equally, but won't pick up any extra feedback on the sides. Omnidirectional, all the way to the left here, picks up everything around it. When you're placing these mics around the room, be aware of what polar patterns they are set on and change them to meet the needs of the performers. If you have few mics and many singers or instrumentalists, use both omnidirectional and bidirectional to record multiple sounds at once. If you're lucky and you have quite a few mics, you can be a little more flexible in isolating the various sounds that you're recording. Here's how this can come into play. Imagine that you have several instrumentalists that you are trying to record. You don't want their sounds to bleed into each other's microphones, but you do want them to be somewhat close together so that they can be in sync. In this picture, if each shape represents a different instrument, and each circle here is a microphone, having each microphone on cardioid, so that's that heart shape that's going to record directly in front and only slightly to the sides, this will block out most other sounds in the room and mainly capture the instrumentalists. Here's another scenario. If you have a small group of singers that you want to record but only one microphone, placing the singers in a circle with an omnidirectional mic in the middle will record all singers equally if they are standing the same distance from the microphone. So these are just a couple of ways that combining the various polar patterns and placement of microphones can help you capture a quality recording.